So hello everyone, hopefully you can hear me okay. Going to just basically go through, is virtual reality working? Is it increasing sales? Going to talk through some aspects of what actually exists in today's market and what virtual reality is, and the kind of differentiation between 360 photography and virtual reality, and talk through some case studies of clients that we work with, customer feedback, where we're going, thoughts on the industry. So just to start with, just to tell you a little bit about us and EyeSpy 360. So I'm one of the co-founders and CEO of EyeSpy 360. We are a UGC self-service platform for the creation of 360 virtual tours. We were founded in 2016. Let me just go back here. We were self-funded for the first 13 months, and we've just closed our first seed round of funding as well, which is helping us expand internationally. Over the last 11 months, we have been in a position where we've now got clients in 22 different countries across 6 continents, ranging from small independent estate agents through to some major property brands, property portals. Outside of that, we're working with various verticals, as you can see, commercial, residential, property, inspections, inventories, police force. Use our platform as well for crime scenes, oil and gas companies, local councils, hotels, leisure, jets, yacht companies. Sunseeker, again, are a client. What's really important to us as a business as well, are kind of 3 key principles, is we're all about customer focus, both from customer service perspective and also customer-centric product development. So we built our core product. Everything we're building around that now is very much focused on what our customers are asking for, the features across the different verticals we're working in. And when the majority, we're putting a business case for the majority, that's when we start building it. And I'm going to come on to some of the features and the products that we're going to be building and we're releasing over the next few months. We've also built simple APIs, SDKs, to allow people to integrate into their own portals, their own CRM systems as well, just to make it simpler and not having to go externally. So the 4 key things that we built the business around were simplicity, development, affordability, and speed. Simplicity, we wanted to build something that was very different from any other product out there in the way that people went about creating the 360 virtual tours. So as a starting point, we actually work agnostically across any 360 camera system, whether it's the Ricoh, whether it's the Nikon Immersion, whether it's Samsung 360, and a plethora of others that are coming out onto the market soon as well. So we have a patent pending workflow that's been cited as at least 50%, to some extent 400% faster than any of our competitors, from going from taking the imagery through to actually publishing a tour, which again works across mobile, desktop, tablet devices. Development, as I mentioned before, is really important to us as well, and we're constantly evolving our product, and product development is really very key. But about simplicity, again, it's got to be simple for the end user. The complication, that's for us to worry about in the back end. Affordability, again, for us to make it mass market, which was a core principle of our business, we had to make it affordable. So our price ranges from £2.90 down to 40p at kind of enterprise level per property. So again, it's affordable. It's something you don't necessarily have to pass the cost on. And speed, again, is really important. A lot of our end users are sales guys. They just want to go in, they take on a new instruction, they take our kit with, they create a tour. It takes 2 seconds to use a Ricoh camera to create a standard 360 image of a room, and using our platform, it can take around 5 to 10 minutes to create a tour through to publishing. So enough about us for now anyway. What I want to do is really just discuss initially the difference between virtual reality, VR, and 360 photography, because there is a difference. Virtual reality is a medium for viewing content. No more, no less than that. It applies itself extremely well to 360 photography, which is what the core of our virtual tours are, which you can look at across mobile, tablet devices, and desktop as well. VR is another way of doing that. VR is getting there. It's very, very early days still. It's where mobile phones were when you were holding them over your shoulder, and they had big battery packs with them, and they are going to get cheaper, they're going to get smaller, and I'm going to come on to that in a little more detail as well. But the overview is virtual reality is a creation of an artificial environment that's an immersive experience, and that's the key thing. It is an immersive experience. It's probably the closest you will get to being somewhere without physically being there as well. And in that respect, it's a fantastic tool for property, both commercial and residential. 360 photography is the essence of creating panoramic 360 images that are viewable in all 360, 360 vertical, 360 horizontal. And again, Ricoh Theta camera achieves that within 2 seconds and stitches on the fly. So again, it's very, very simple. regarding the future of virtual reality, there's been a few comments about it as well. Personally, my viewpoint, if you were to ask me a year ago, I would say that probably it's going to hit mass consumer adoption within 2 or 3 years. I think it's now 5 to 10 years away for different reasons, and I think the last year has been a good test for that. Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook, they've put a lot of money into obviously Oculus. They're doing 360 photography now on Facebook, as our Instagram, as our YouTube, etc. as well. And one of the things that Mark Zuckerberg's come out with is that the future of VR could be our next computing platform. I fully believe it will be, but it's going to take time to get there. It offers a completely new way of seeing a world. I'm not sure how many people have experienced virtual reality so far, with the Samsung Gear headset. But one of the interesting things is it really can transport you somewhere, and that immersive experience, it makes you feel like you're there, allows you to make better judgment calls, better experiences. But it is going to take a while to get there. One of the things that they're working on with VR as well is full sensory immersion, so just beyond visual, but also taste, sound, all these sensory immersion experience. So if you can imagine, you can go to a property, you can walk into the garden, you could smell the flowers, you could hear the birds tweeting, potentially hear the traffic if it's on a noisy road. But that experience within VR is going to really just appeal. It's going to make it much more immersive, and that's the things that we're working on, and that's going to make it more appealing and also allow it to achieve the mass market appeal. But it's taking time. It's going to take time to gain traction. A lot of it's about content, delivering the right content. And at the moment, virtual reality is really focused. We do an element of it, and it's working in the property space, but the core areas at the moment are gaming and adult, which is, they're always at the forefront of technology, and that's where it's kind of the play is, and it's for early adopters, kids, teens, etc. as well. One of the biggest companies in AR VR is a company called Magic Leap. I'm not sure whether anyone's heard of them. But they're based in the States. They've had 1.4 billion worth of funding so far. What they were supposed to be delivering is delayed. It's way off. But the market potential is huge. At the moment, 2016, the market was worth 1.8 billion, expected to climb to 22.4 billion by 2020, and that's software and hardware combined. The high expectations are around the sort of 121, in some instances 180 billion as well. So the potential for the market, VR, is massive. What does the future of VR look like? If we're looking at, sorry for the cheesy thing that we put together anyway, but to give you an example, we ultimately are going to be building out a full VR platform. Our belief is that the branches you see, estate agency branches, they're going to disappear as retail is and retail has been on the high street, and it's going to be a completely different experience. Everything we're building now is an iterative process that is for today's market, but is going to be moving towards virtual reality. Computer graphics are getting to a point where they're just, they're fantastic. If you look at YouTube, NVIDIA have just released something with the next generation of computer graphics, where you'll be able to recreate individuals, and it will be indistinguishable from real life. So if you imagine in the future, in the same way that people are sitting at home nowadays and they're looking at, Zoopla and Rightmove, looking around what properties they enjoy, you'll don a headset, you'll be taken, transported to a virtual branch. You can have an agent in this respect. You can have a celebrity basically be your agent that's showing you around properties. There's some really cool, very interesting things that can be done in VR. But you'll be in an artificial environment that would feel real. You can manipulate the images. You can look around properties. This is stuff that we're looking at the moment, is the ability to create virtual tours where you can actually change the property that you're in. You can go into someone's house that you're looking at purchasing. You can take down walls and see what it would look like if you knocked the walls down. You can change the furniture, you can change the curtains. You'll be able to manipulate the property and kind of give it a sense of what it would feel like if you were living there as well. So there's some really interesting things that can be done with VR. So what do the actual figures say at the moment as well? Some of the stats. So virtual reality software revenue worldwide, the expectation between what was 2015 through to next year, as you can see, it's very much kind of early majority, early adopters, like gamers, etc. as well. But the figures are there. There is a market, but it is very much early adopters currently. The number of active virtual reality users, again, is on the increase. There's a theme here. The theme is it's early adopters, tech-savvy people, generally gamers that are taking up VR. But the demand is there and the growth is happening at the moment, and we're seeing that. And the expectations are that that's only just going to increase. If we look at some figures that Goldman Sachs recently did, some research into VR, and they put their conclusions together through their analysts. And what they're saying is there is a slower adoption than they expected as well if they compare it to the likes of mobile phones. which you can see on the graph here as well, which is smartphone shipments through to delayed uptake, base case, and accelerated uptake as well. But the overall consensus is that it's got massive potential, but it's going to be a slower burner than they expected as well, which is why the expectation is now 5 to 10 years away. Looking at the sectors where VR is applicable as well, and as you can see, it's quite a broad range, gaming being the obvious as well, live events, video entertainment, real estate, expectation is it's going to be a $2.6 billion industry as well. So again, there's money there, there's a huge potential, but it's got potential around various verticals, and I think that's obviously a good thing, because as long as those verticals take this up, it's going to make it an accessible product for property as well. The most obvious thing, and the really important thing, is the price points as well for the headsets. They're expensive at the moment. They're cumbersome. You've got the untethered devices like the Samsung Gear, Cardboard, but also the Oculus, the HTC, which they may bring out an untethered version now, but they're heavy, they've got to connect to high-end PCs or gaming consoles. They're not right, they're not applicable for everyone. But ultimately they will be, you'll be able to go out and get Ray-Ban VR headsets, Gucci VR headsets. It's moving that direction. They're going to get lighter, they're going to get cheaper. And again, the cheapness is the key thing. It's about price points. If you look at mobile phones, the saturation of the mobile phone market, or when they were cheap enough that the operators subsidized them, or people just could afford to actually put them on a subscription model. And that's something we're actually toying with our business, with the actual hardware. Left. Fine, need to hurry up. Okay, fine. So I need to hurry up because I've got quite a bit to go through as well. So the important thing for us at the moment as well is focusing on today's market, today's technology, which is mobile, desktop, and tablet. And VR is a small part of what we do, but it's going to become more of an expansive part of it. But it is supporting sales, it is supporting growth, and that's predominantly through marketing, which is where VR is being used. So very simply, if we look at the internet usage, there was an inflection point back in October 2016 where mobile and tablet overtook desktop with regards to mobile internet usage as well. So a focus for us is very much on mobile and desktop equally at the moment, but a focus over the next few years is going to be on mobile, which is where general consumption is. So very quickly, history of virtual tours. They've been around for a long time. They were cumbersome. Initially, they were just still images that were kind of moved around on a screen, which you see a lot of in the States at the moment. It's boring. It's not applicable. The next evolution of 360 tours came out that you could use on certain devices, generally desktops, highly pixelated, very slow, bandwidth wasn't there, weren't relevant. Software started developing, the broadband infrastructure started developing, 4G networks started coming in, 3G, they became quicker, everyone was adding loads of features, they became cumbersome to use for the end user, not right. Nowadays, there's a lot of easier, our platform is a perfect example, a lot easier to use. HTML5, WebGL makes it applicable. We can work on any single browser, cross devices. It's ready for today's market. So why virtual tours now as well? From an industry perspective, as you're well aware, this conference is a perfect example. Massive amounts of disruption going on, big paradigm shift going on with the whole industry. There's lots of press and media coverage about virtual reality, about 360 imagery. It's filtering down from the early adopters now with regards to some of the companies that we're working with. There's a big push with VR and 360 with Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, as I mentioned earlier. And from a hardware and software perspective, there's a lot of 360 cameras out there that are easy and cheap enough for the consumer. You've got WebGL, HTML5 browser support. There's software out there such as ours. It's simple, it's intuitive, it's affordable, it's fast. What do our clients think? So these are some of the clients that we're currently working with. As I said, we have clients in 20 countries around the world now, but you can see there's some big brands on the commercial side. We're working with some small, medium-sized residential companies as well, some property portals that we're integrating with around the world now as well. There's some testimonials here from some of the clients from JLL in Dubai, from Click Media in Colombia, from a company called Colliers in the UK, who are an interesting case study because they do a lot of kind of holiday rentals and short to medium-term rentals. Apart from their customers loving what they're doing, they're actually letting properties now through our 360 tours without any physical viewings, which is a bit of a first. And that's really appealing for them as well. Some of the client benefits that we're hearing back from feedback from people as well, and this is from feedback from a plethora of clients that we're working with. They're doing less viewings because people are looking at 360 tours and using that as a filter to say yes or no. The sales are up because of it, because they're spending less time doing irrelevant viewings and spending more time taking on instructions. As I said before, rentals and no physical viewings. It's an innovative marketing piece for them as well, especially with the VR headsets. It allows them to win instructions, positive customer feedback, so providing transparency, honesty. It's removing those old style images of people that look at it, looking at pictures, you go and see the property, it looks nothing like the property. It's removing that and increasing honesty and transparency in the industry. It's saving them money because we're cheap enough and we're cheaper than doing standard photography. And we also have a feature within our platform that allows you to take 2D stills from the 360 image, which is even reducing costs even more. Some very basic stats. I'll be as quick as I can here. 80% of consumers search for information online. 80% of people surfing the web have said that images are a must when deciding to buy a house. So we know that's important to them. If we can improve that, picture paints 1,000 words, a 360 picture paints 1,000,000 words. It makes a big difference to people. Virtual tours can help reduce the amount of wasted time, as I've just explained, with irrelevant viewings. And listings on virtual tours get clicked on 40% more, according to Realtor.com, who have implemented this technology. So what did the end users think? Not the clients, not our customers, what did their customers think? And we did a survey about 7 months ago, a small survey, cross-section across the UK. And we asked them, to what extent do you believe that standard property photos accurately represent property when you see it in person? Nearly 70% said not so accurately. And that goes back to that old adage of looking at a property and it doesn't look like anything, it doesn't look like the property. It's been manipulated, they're wide angles, etc. as well. Do you believe a 360 virtual tour will prevent you from wasting time visiting unsuitable properties? Again, 75%-ish said yes. Do you believe that a 360 virtual tour would add more value to your decision-making process? Again, around 65%, very much so, nearly 28% said to some extent. When considering your next rental or sale, which of the following would you rather use to view a property online? Nearly 80% said a 360 virtual tour over a static photo. So the consumers, the end users, are saying they like this technology, they prefer it. And a lot of it's about us working with property companies, with portals, estate agents, for you guys to push this out and make it the norm, because the feedback we're getting from people that are using it and their end consumers is they want this to be the norm, they want it. These are just some comments from those people that we took the survey from. Again, positive feedback from people. Move on to the next one. What are we seeing? And we're close to the end, by the way. These are our stats over the last 12 months regarding people that are signing up to us, number of tours people are creating, the number of tours published. Won't go into it in too much detail, other than you can see there's growth, there's demand, it's increasing. People are using it, people are creating tours. We are probably getting to a point where we're signing up about 10 new clients every single day from inbound sales, and that's across the world. Give you an idea, these are the countries that we're actually operating in at the moment, and this is purely from inbound sales. Very little of it is outbound sales, apart from some of the big enterprise deals that we're doing at the moment. But where you can see there's coloration, that's where we've had clients come to us and using our platform now as well. So there's global demand for this sort of technology. Just to give you a brief idea, and this is the last slide, what are we doing? What are we building? What are we bringing out over the next few months, few years as well, which our customers have asked us to? In the short term, we're bringing out EyeSpy Live. EyeSpy Live is a way of people interacting in real time through a 360 virtual tour that's going to be cross-browser and cross-product. So what I mean by that, you can have a customer sitting in Starbucks looking through one of our 360 virtual tours. They want to speak to the agent, they've got some questions. There'll be a call to action button within the 360 tour. They click on that, it rings the agent's device, whether it's a tablet, desktop, mobile, they nominate that device, and it will start a live one-on-one audio-video session, cross-device, cross-browser, that will allow them to take the person around the property. So whatever the tour is, however you turn around within the tour on one device, it's mimicked on the other device. So again, it's another way of people interacting with their customers without having to physically go there, and allow them to filter out the people that are interested and not interested. That's coming out in Q3. We've got archiving, so instead of redoing a tour in 6 months' time, you can just archive it, and that's unlimited. You can archive as many tours as you want. Advanced analytics to really drill down into the data and give you the information back. Our big build, which we're looking at in 12, 18 months, is the ability to just take 360 camera around the property, take photos, create a tour, and it will automatically create a floor plan for you of the property. That's something that our clients have asked us to do. We're looking into it, figured out how to do it. It's a big build, it's 12 to 18 months away. So that's kind of it. I'm being told to hurry up, so I'm hurrying up. But that's kind of an overview. I'm sure there's going to be a few questions. But thank you.
Great, thank you very much. This feels a bit like the Oscars. Are there any questions from the audience? Yes, we have a question there. Do we have a microphone going round? Sorry, excuse me. Great. You just put your hand up and that's great. Thank you very much.
Hi there, sorry, Lawrence here from Virtual Commercial. I saw some excellent stats up there to do with...
Sorry to interrupt, I can't, it's no sound. I don't, do I need headphones?
We might have to do a Chinese whispers scenario.
Okay.
I can see that there were some excellent statistics up there. I was just wondering how many people for those slides you actually got, how many data points you had for that.
Okay, sorry.
Did you hear that?
No.
How many data
Where the
points
data was
you
from.
have for the statistics on the slides?
On the slides, it's 500 people.
Is anyone else brave enough to ask a Chinese whispers style question? I'm very much enjoying it. It's really putting my chairing abilities to the test. Yes, please. Can we get the microphone just to that gentleman there? Oh.
Hi, how would EyeSpy Live work if you had a call center environment?
No, it's not working. Go on.
How would EyeSpy Live work if you had a call center environment?
If you had a call center environment, I guess it's very similar to some of the online and hybrids that we're talking to at the moment that have got call centers. It would work on the basis that the call centers have to be educated about the property to some extent as well. That's one of the core kind of messages. There has to be knowledge and ability to talk about the property. Other than that, as long as it's working, the way the system is going to operate is that it'll be working on a very similar to like a telephone system hunt group. So it'll call if someone can nominate their desktop, their tablet, their mobile in order. So if it rings on their desktop, they don't answer because they're out. It'll ring on their mobile phone. If they don't answer, it'll go through to someone else that's nominated as well. So it'll be based on a hunt group.
Sorry, could you...
So it'd be round robin like a chain rather than ringing 5 mobile phones or 5 desktops at once and any of them answer?
So it would be round robin rather than a chain?
Yes.
I think we might have actually sort of done the best we possibly can under the current circumstances of questions. But if you want to come and ask the question directly afterwards, then obviously feel free. Sorry if that wasn't quite in depth, but thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.